Hey everyone, today I'm going to go over what I consider the 6 best Nintendo remakes. No overly long intro this time, but if you go on to enjoy, liking the video and subscribing to the channel would mean a lot to me. At the time of this video, I'm almost at 600 subs, which is amazing. Thanks everyone. Super Mario RPG was released in 1996 and was widely loved at the time for its heartfelt story, interesting characters, legendary music and fun combat system. The 2023 remake keeps all the original charm and perfectly blends it with modern quality of life features, incredible graphics, and a healthy amount of paying respect to its predecessor. It's worth noting that this remake doesn't alter anything drastically from the original. There are some changes, but for the most part, this is just a polished, better-looking remaster of the original, and that's exactly what the fans wanted, most of us at least. The blocky, arguably ugly graphics of the '96 classic might put some modern players off, but with the remake, the characters and landscapes look incredible. They also maintain the sort of retro, blocky feel of the original character models and areas, while cleaning everything up with a much-needed coat of paint. Everything is rich with detail, like small reflections on shiny surfaces, or added animations that give all the characters more personality. The combat has been revamped with a few new systems. You now get a bonus if you successfully chain-timed actions. This wasn't the case in the original. Parts of the combat was still timing-based, but there wasn't any reward for chaining actions. There is also added visual indicators to help time your button presses, and there's an even more precise bonus window for your attacks that makes them deal bonus damage to every enemy on the field. With a combat system heavily focused on perfectly timing attacks, these are all very welcome additions. Another big difference in combat is that you can now swap party members in and out at any time, without losing a turn. This removes some difficulty from the original, but that's probably not an issue for most people. Overall, this remake brilliantly captures the greatness of the original game, beautifully updating the graphics and deepening the combat system with some much-needed new features that would fit right in with the original game. If I asked you to tell me what the most classic video game in history is, I bet a lot of you would say Super Mario Bros. For the good old Nintendo Entertainment System. The original trilogy of games defined a generation with some of the best music gaming has to offer, great tight controls and masterful level design. The only issue with these games is the fact you have to dust off your almost 40-year-old console just to play them. Well, that would be the case if Super Mario All-Stars didn't exist for the Wii and Super Nintendo, bringing the 3 classic Mario Bros. Titles with updated graphics and music, plus the lost levels to new systems. To be honest, there isn't a whole lot to say about this collection. If you're watching this video, you probably already know about Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3 and the lost levels, so going on about how great they are isn't really necessary. Super Mario All-Stars takes these widely loved games, makes them look much better, spices up the music, and puts them all into a single cartridge/disc. Considered to be the best Mario RPG game by many and widely loved for its unique art style, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for the Nintendo GameCube has been a staple in not just Mario games, but RPGs in general since its release in 2004, and its price on the second-hand market reflects that. But fear not, this game was faithfully remade in 2024. Apart from obviously looking stunning, some other additions include features that make travel more convenient, a new hint system for if you're lost and need some tips, some sound updates, and a, mostly, consistent 30 FPS frame rate. An issue that the original game had was that you had to backtrack quite a lot. The problem hasn't been completely removed in the remake, but there definitely isn't as much backtracking as before. Overall, the quality of life improvements, the fun and witty writing that's just as funny as it was in 2004, and the great graphics make this version easily the best way to experience one of Nintendo's all-time best games. Not to mention, you could buy about 5 copies of the Switch version for the same price as one GameCube version. Now, Mario 64 DS is a pretty divisive game. Many people hate it for its bad controls. Many people love it for taking everything amazing about the original and making it bigger and better, upgrading the graphics and adding more characters and 30 additional stars, making the total 150 compared to the original's 120. There's been some arguing back and forth online about whether this is simply a port or a full-on remake, but for the sake of this video,
I missed the part where that's my problem.
let's start with the positives. Firstly, it's Mario 64. Obviously, it's a great game deep down. I think it'd be basically impossible for them to ruin such a classic and well-made game. Apart from that, they added Yoshi, Wario, and Luigi. A visual overhaul makes everything from Bob on Battlefield to Rainbow Ride look amazing compared to the original. But not even better graphics could save Rainbow Ride from being terrible. Portability is another plus for this version, and there's a collection of fun, time-waster minigames. Now for the negatives, obviously, you've heard it a million times, but the controls suck. Even on a 3DS with the addition of the joystick, they still feel wonky and unresponsive. You'll lightly tap the joystick in a direction, and the character you're playing as will sprint full speed right off the platform you're stood on. Donkey Kong Country was the third highest-selling game for the Super Nintendo, and it's still a fun game even today. But if you don't want to have to take your 33-year-old SNES out of storage to play it, the game was remade for the Wii in 2010. If you don't like annoying motion controls, though, you might prefer Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D for the 3DS, removing all the motion controls and adding the 3D effect the system is known for. There's also an upcoming HD remake on Switch that was announced in the latest Nintendo Direct, but that isn't out yet, so it doesn't count. Firstly, like every other game I've mentioned today, it looks great. Especially for 3DS standards, the 3D effect is put to good use here too. Now, if you're like me, you basically never use the 3D slider, but this game uses the feature surprisingly well. When enemies are killed, they sometimes fly towards the screen, which is a neat effect, as well as different features of the forest really popping out and coming to life, which makes the whole game feel really alive and actually lived in. Fans of more difficult games will appreciate the fact that this game isn't easy by any means. There is an easy mode, though, if you'd rather not throw your DS out the window. If you've ever played the original, you'll know how tough that one was, so the fact the new one didn't dumb down the gameplay and make it super easy is a welcome addition, to me at least. Overall, if you enjoyed the original, you'll definitely like this remake. Even if you didn't play the SNES version and you're just a fan of platformers with great music and a decent bit of challenge, then Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, or the Wii version if you like motion controls for some reason, will be a good addition to your collection. The original Yoshi's Island game on the Super Nintendo is arguably the prettiest looking game on the system. Coupled with its godlike soundtrack, it made for an enjoyable experience, apart from the baby crying sounds, which I think gave kids in the 90s post-traumatic stress disorder. Yoshi's New Island for the 3DS received pretty negative reception at the time of its release, so let me set the record straight.
I'm right, you're wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it.
On a serious note, though, this game is probably the weakest out of the 6 I've gone over today. But damn it, I love the original, and this game has a special place in my heart because of that. The biggest issue here is that it doesn't really expand on the original game's ideas and concepts. That doesn't mean it's a bad game, though, not at all. It has the same warm, cozy, and colourful aesthetic of the SNES original, similar level design, unique bosses and enemies, and obviously, amazing music. If you're looking for a game that expands upon the original and takes it to whole new places, then you'll be disappointed. But if you loved the original and want to join our good friend Yoshi on another wholesome, fun adventure, then I think you'd enjoy this one. If you have a particular itch for Yoshi games on the DS, though, then Yoshi's Woolly World is another great one. Thanks for watching. What do you consider the best Nintendo remake? What Nintendo games do you think deserve a remake? Let me know in the comments. If you made it this far and would like to see more Nintendo/general gaming content from me in the future, subscribing to my channel would be very much appreciated, and of course like the video if you liked it. I recently posted a video about the most underrated game consoles of all time. It'll be linked in the description if you're interested. As always, have a good rest of your day.